I'm a nerd.
Nerds.
Nerds.
Nerds!
I'm not kissing a nerd.
What is a nerd?
We interrupt this program for an important message from Nerdables.
Ready? Yeah. What did I say? Did I call them dirtables? Deadables? Dirtables.
Welcome, Dirtables.
I was like talking one time. I was like, "Welcome, Deadables, to the Walking Dead cast."
Dude, this is the cast?
See, Walking Dead cast. Yes, the whole cast is here.
See, even Mikey thinks it's stupid.
Look, Ethan, we're joined by somebody. We have a guest on our show.
Does Chris never hang out for...
Chris doesn't stay. He doesn't stick around.
He doesn't want me.
I think, was he there on the first one?
No.
No? Oh, I think
He wasn't on it because he wasn't caught up to it.
But he was there on for one of them.
No, he wasn't.
So anyways, this week we are talking the newest episode of The Walking Dead. So if you haven't heard it or watched it yet,
Glenn lives.
Go watch
and then dies again.
Go watch the episode, then come back and listen to this podcast. But we're talking about episode now. Don't you love
Marvel now?
Yes.
Episode 5? Yeah, episode 5.
Season 6, episode 5. Don't you love the titles they come up for the episodes?
I just kind of think that, they're like, what one word can we think of this time?
Well, it's like the Morning Glories when they put the description in
Oh, yeah.
previews. It's one word, and that's it. And you're like, well, I don't know the story, so anybody who's reading it prior,
Exactly.
they're the only ones that are going to get it.
Next episode is going to be titled It.
A few weeks ago, they couldn't come up with a name, so they only had JSS. All right, well, so we'll just, yeah.
Well, you see, that at least had something pertaining in the episode, though, because it was all over the episode. Now, it just means, like, what? I think they've
It means now, in the moment.
Yeah. I mean, I think they've titled another episode time now. And
Or
like,
since
they
the last
said
episode,
now
it was
or
all
something
past,
before.
for the most part,
Yeah.
with
Okay.
Morgan.
So, last week we said that last week's episode was a filler to keep people in suspense of whether or not Glenn and Rick live. This week was just as bad.
Well, last week's episode was great.
It was good.
Last week's
was-
at least was interesting.
Yeah.
It was last week's was a filler episode, but it wasn't something that didn't progress the story.
It's all backstory for Morgan.
This
you
kind
wanted
of,
to know.
Yeah. This kind of didn't progress the story at all. It just
This one
kind
was
of
all
like-
over the place.
It's like, hey, let's hang out and see what everybody's up to at this moment.
What they're up to now.
Yeah. I was trying to stay away from saying it.
I mean, at one point, you have the fight between Ron and Curl, and that was the most awkward unchoreographed fight.
Stop it. No, you
Carl,
stop it.
Carl went to go punch him, but he just didn't form a fist when he went to it.
There was
okay.
nothing there.
It's like I was
It's
about
just
to punch you, but then I'm
completely-
going to push you instead.
It was just that moment. I was like, wait. And then there was another moment where I was like, did somebody forget how to act? I think
Oh, there was a lot of bad acting in this episode.
the whole thing with God, what's her name?
Deanna?
No, well, Deanna's kind of was. She
her
was fine
acting
when
was fine.
when she didn't have to speak. No, between what's the lesbians? We just talked
Tara?
about Tara and the other chick,
Denise.
Denise. Yes, when she first walks in, where
They
the
don't
books.
know she's a lesbian yet.
But
That's
when-
later in the episode. Come on.
when Tara, well, everybody knows that
God.
Tara's a lesbian.
Yeah.
But when she slides the book across the floor, and it's that whole scene was just.
Slides her tongue down her throat.
I didn't think it was that bad in terms of the acting. It just
Spencer was horrible.
I think they had to
Spencer
God.
being drunk was horrible.
God, that was like the worst acting I've seen in a long time.
I'm
on
like,
the show.
you're gonna die.
it wasn't good. No.
You're gonna die because you can't act.
I think they just had to set up the Denise and Tara
Yeah.
relationship, so they just had to throw that little bit in before the whole kiss at the end. So
But then the whole thing with Spencer going to the storage building and stopping her, which as I said during the show, you have the heaviest person being the person that's guarding the food.
It's like a Lord of the Rings, or not Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, yeah. The fact,
Piggy guards the food,
yeah.
and then he gets blamed.
Well, why
Well, I
not?
mean, she didn't get blamed,
but yeah, she didn't get blamed. But you would think, everybody else is starting to lose weight and get skinny in this, but you're guarding the food. Let's think about this one, right? Think about it. You never thought about that, right?
Yeah, I don't
It's a
think
fleeting
it's,
thought.
It's
but
because you're
that's about it.
it's because you're fat, so you don't think about that.
takes one to know one. Jeez.
So, anyways, the episode starts out with Rick running from the horde. Which did the walkers seem faster to you guys?
I'm surprised he couldn't outrun them and put more distance between them.
That's what I was.
I don't
thinking.
understand that.
Yeah,
Well, I think it's just because there were so many of them and they were already on their way here. He was just kind of like weaving through the herd, basically.
Yeah.
I
And
lo-
they were probably flanking from the outside
Yeah.
too.
Well, I love the one where he's running up and he goes to shoulder block the guy when all he had to do was run around him, and then he shoulder blocks him and falls.
Yeah.
That's you
Yeah.
juke him, man. Come on, you watch football.
But I mean, like the last episode we saw Rick in, he was in the RV as it was getting surrounded. So you
Yeah.
can tell, they were already ahead of him, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's him basically just running through the horde and getting back to the gate.
Well, and then when he went directly through the gate and they closed it, walkers just come out
I
right
know.
from the side. I'm like, okay, why weren't they there immediately when the gate opened?
Yeah.
But whatever.
Then we saw that there was the one wolf walker that was left in there. That I love the explanation for that one because they had to have him in there so that Deanna could have somebody to fight and kind of.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh well, Carol, who wasn't in the episode at all.
Right.
Oh well, Carol said there was one that she got, but she couldn't find the body.
Oh,
It must have
I was
been
about to say, I was like, I don't remember her
Yeah.
not getting rid of one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking the same thing. It was like, well, we need something. We got to come up with something quick, and we don't want to go into a lot of detail. Oh well, Carol, she was here. She left us one for us. Yeah.
It just seems a lot of the writing for this episode was all over the place, and they felt like a need to explain things, which they really didn't. Need
Yeah.
to.
This episode they really needed to carry it out. There's oh shit, we have 6 episodes, whatever, to the break.
And we don't want to let
we don't want anyone know
Glenn's
Glenn's still
alive.
alive yet. So
We got to try to drag it out as much as possible.
yeah,
And then next episode is we're gonna see what Daryl, Sasha, and Abraham are up to. So we gotta wait, even longer now to see what happens to Glenn, because Maggie couldn't make it out the door to go and save him.
I was surprised because they put Nicholas and Glenn's name up on the wall. I didn't see Daryl or
Yeah,
Sasha.
that was the-
or Abraham. Like, okay, those all should have been up there too.
yeah.
because-
Or the rest of the group that was with
Or
with Glenn and them.
Well, do you really remember their names?
No.
no, but
Exactly.
still.
They may have had those names
Well,
up.
that's true.
So there was Doug and Bill and no,
Yeah,
I don't think they even had names.
they did.
Did
but
they?
I can't remember them right now, to be honest with you.
But yeah, it just felt like the whole time. There was only one thing that we truly did learn about this episode.
That Maggie's pregnant,
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
She actually says it.
Which I called that one because of the book.
It
I
wasn't
was
that
like,
hard.
yeah.
I didn't hear her saying she
She-
was actually pregnant.
Well, the first.
She says it when they're in the sewer.
No, I figured that would be the place
Right.
where she would have said it. But
You mean prior to that?
Well, no, I don't remember hearing any.
Well, no, when they were in the first episode where they were all planning on doing the whole thing with the herd, Maggie's like, "Okay, I'm in," and then Glenn turns to her and be like, "No, you're not," and it's just
You
kind of
need to stay here for
Yeah.
Diana and the other reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so he kind of makes a mention of it without saying it.
Yeah.
If you've read that far in the book, then yeah.
You would know, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
It's
read
like,
it.
oh, she's pregnant. That's why she can't go.
Yeah.
So, a part of me was wondering though if, Mikey, you haven't read the book, right?
Nope.
But do you know most of the story of the book?
No, not really.
You're just going through with the show.
Yeah.
Because part of me was wondering if they were actually going to do to Glenn what they do to him in the book, or just let this be it. let him be dead now instead of letting the continue on in the book. It would be simpler, but it's such a pivotal moment in the book. I don't see how you can't.
I say if Glenn hasn't died in this,
This is the setup for it.
it's
Well, they've already leaked pictures of him on set behind Jesus or whatever.
yeah.
Oh, that's true. That's right.
Yeah. Now he could just be on set just for the hell of it.
And that could be really like how he gets out of it is, Jesus comes to save the day, and that's how they introduce him.
Jesus comes to save the
Jesus.
day.
Paul Monroe, he's in the comics, but I don't think his
Did you catch the P. Monroe?
Hmm?
Did you catch the P.
It
Monroe?
was R. Monroe, actually.
Was it R?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's for Reggie. It said panel 1.
Right.
R. Monroe, so that's the first wall that was put up, basically.
Oh, well, I figured it was the first wall, but I couldn't tell if it was an R or a P.
Yeah, it was R. Monroe. But yeah, either they're gonna stick to just having his name be Jesus, or they're gonna change it because I can't see them using Paul Monroe.
It's not Jesus, it's Jesus.
Say whatever.
They even says it in there. They ask him, is it Jesus or is it Jesus? And he says, no, it's Jesus. They gave me that name because, he
They
looks
spell
like,
it out saying JEEZUS. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they basically say, well, he was given that name because he was, kind of the savior of whatever community he goes to. Yeah.
That's dumb.
So whatever.
That's probably one of those things that they may not. They may make like one reference to it just as a comic book nod, but then, not refer to it again.
Yeah.
But that's a very strong name to carry over.
I would think they would
should
use it as
use it, yeah.
Jesus in the show just to kind of stay away from the religious aspect of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, did anyone really feel like with that horde around the community, did you ever feel like they were really in danger?
Well, no, I mean,
And there was like you
and
hear
Rick,
the banging
Rick even
and stuff.
says it. Rick is like, we're safe. You
Yeah.
know, he even says it. Like, we know we're safe. I mean, you guys are worrying for nothing.
Yeah.
It's just we can't get out, but we're safe. I mean, until we figure out how to get the hell out of here, we're good.
You could pick them off all day long too.
Yeah.
If you wanted
Yeah.
to.
Well, I've never understood why they just don't burn them.
That
Yeah.
too.
Just pour some
I mean,
gasoline and let them burn.
But then
Well, I mean,
then your struts and your supports
That's
just
true.
get all.
But then you
burnt
also
down.
see like with like last season or the season before, I think, where they had a bunch of walkers that were on fire. It doesn't necessarily kill them. It just
well, we saw it
burns
last
them up.
week with Morgan when
Yeah,
he was lighting the
it
fire
doesn't-
that one of them walked through it.
It doesn't necessarily kill them. It just burns the shit out of them.
Well, eventually they're going to burn to nothing, to crisp bone, and
yeah,
it's
as
not
long-
like
but as long
barbecue
as-
for a
But
while.
as long as the brain is intact, they'll still be walking
It'd be
around.
funny if they just burnt like all the flesh and it's just bone. And it's a bone zombie
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
walking.
Well, see, even if it was burning, eventually the heat would cause the brain to pop.
Yeah.
They would die. They'd probably die before they would actually burn up. But speaking about the struts, and I noticed this, I've noticed this before, but I really didn't, think a lot about it. When you look at the wall, the parallel struts, they're like the braces,
Yeah.
are on the outside of the wall.
They're on both sides.
Yeah, they're on.
I didn't see them on the
They're
inside.
on- yeah, they're
Look,
on
when
the
you look
inside,
at them
too.
when they're at the burial ground, the cemetery the little makeshift cemetery, there aren't any struts on that side.
Yeah, but in the front gate, they're on both sides.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, well, why the fuck aren't these zombies? They can push the whole thing over. They've already got a brace that's helping them.
Yeah.
Did anyone like Spencer after this episode? Because before
I didn't really care for Spencer in the first place.
I didn't mind him. I thought, the truck thing, I got a little bit of respect for him.
No, when the whole thing with the pantry first, I was like, okay, well, he's
Since his mom's
seeing
not
what
doing
it
shit.
is. Yeah, he's seeing what it is that's bothering his mom. He's like stepping up, and I was like, okay, that's cool. But then when he goes back later, and he's all like, well, yeah, I stole the shit, because I deserve it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Multiple
no.
people they would notice, but one person, well, why shouldn't it be me?
yeah. So I mean, like, it just makes him look to be like a jerk anyway. So I was like, again, I really don't care about him anymore.
And somebody really needs to teach Diana how to kill a zombie.
What, you can't kill him by just stabbing him in the chest 40 times?
She just wanted to
Yeah.
let out her frustration.
Yeah.
She's really short too, and
She
they
is
put
really-
a tall
they
zombie
put a
against.
real tall.
I was just thinking that. I was like, she probably won't be able to kill him
Yeah.
if she just keeps him stabbing him in the chest, and that's as high as she can go.
And I have this feeling that Ron is going to open the gate. We've kind of said
doing
that
something.
before.
I have a feeling that Ron is
I was waiting for him
planning
to push
do
Rick
something.
off.
He's planning to kill someone
I have a feeling.
because why else would he ask Rick to show him how to shoot?
I have a feeling. I keep saying that I know what the mid-season finale is going to be.
Carl gets shot in the eye.
I have a feeling it's going to be Ron that shoots him in the eye.
Okay. She's my girlfriend. Ah.
And, because he doesn't really know how to shoot, and he's aiming. He goes to shoot him. And to me, it just seems like
I
that's
still
the
don't
setup.
think it's happening, but okay.
Or he goes to
through
shoot
it every-
Rick, and Carl jumps in the way.
Well, no, because in the story, the horde comes through the gate, and Carl gets shot by. Is it Aaron that shoots him?
It's Jesse's character in the comic book.
Is it Jesse?
It's the love interest of Rick
Hmm.
at the time, which is Jesse. So.
Yeah. So I have a feeling. I have this feeling.
Or
that-
no. I'm sorry. It's not. It's.
I thought it was a guy that
no.
shot him.
It's Paul Monroe, or Douglas Monroe. Sorry, who's Deanna's character.
Right.
The character that Deanna's playing is it's Douglas Monroe in the books.
Yes.
But yeah, it just basically flips out and he starts trying to shoot everything, and not looking where he's shooting, and basically.
No, it's not Douglas. It's the son. It's Spencer.
I don't think so. No, I think
I'm
it's
pretty sure.
I think it was Douglas because he started freaking out, and so he just started shooting without really thinking about it. I mean,
Anyways,
we
I
can move
have.
on.
Anyways,
I'll
I
see
have
if
a
can
feeling
find
it's
it.
going. To me, that seems like the best place for the mid-season finale.
I don't. Well, I guess I could do two things: showing Glenn being alive or dead, one of the two.
See, I think
And-
Glenn gets there. Glenn gets back in the beginning of the episode. The horde, when he gets back, the horde comes. When they're bringing Glenn in, that's when the horde breaks through.
Carl loses his eye after he is accidentally shot by Douglas Monroe.
Okay, it is.
Proven wrong.
Ethan knows more about Walking Dead than
He looked it up.
I know.
I mean, yes, he initially said that in the first place, but
He did look it up pretty quick, though.
Well, it's pretty easy when you can type in Google "who shot Carl in the eye," and they know exactly who you're talking about.
Who shoots Curl in the eye?
Yeah.
So we also got confirmation that Eden or Eden or whatever the chick's name was Ron's girlfriend officially.
Well, it's not confirmation because he
He
may
says,
have,
he
he
labeled
may
it
have thought
himself.
he may have thought that she was his girlfriend.
but it's really weird how she just she was with Carl. When the
yeah, but they were
guys
just
attacked.
hanging out.
No, but when the wolves attacked, she was with Carl back to back. Yeah, granted, she told him that she was going to take off at that moment.
Yeah, but then also like the time where he comes out to save Ron and all that stuff. All that time, she kind of could have dipped out then.
Do you think we're going to see her again, or do you think
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
she's going to be like the Sophia of this season?
No,
The gates open and she's the zombie that walks through first.
no, it's I
Little-
think because she knows how to survive out there. So I mean,
Yeah.
What happens is Ron shoots Carl in the eye, and she shoots Ron.
okay.
But you don't.
She's in a car outside. So.
But you don't find that
So far.
out until next.
At this point, I'm just gonna say okay to Rick or to Rich,
To Rick?
to Rich because he really wants Carl to get shot in the eye.
I'm telling you,
so
it's the
just,
most
okay.
perfect. It's the most perfect
Looking at a
mid-season
production
finale.
standpoint, it is very difficult for them to continue to give Carl that makeup. So I think
No,
it's not-
once
I don't
once
think
they
it's
do
gonna
it,
happen.
because he's already got the longer hair. You're not going to do it where the
Yes, Rich,
like the
okay.
book
Okay,
where
they're
the
gonna shoot
where the
Carl in
half
the
eye, the half of the brain's gone or
I
half
mean,
the
they
skull.
can put a patch over his
Right.
eye. They don't. I mean,
You have
Yeah,
a
but they
bandage for the
still
longest time,
have
then
a
you
bunch
have,
of makeup that they're gonna have to put around. It's not.
Okay.
It's not like he's getting shot through the eye and that's it.
well, it's not like they're going to green screen his eye the whole time. The only time they'd ever have to do that's when he gets with Negan, and Negan wants to see his eye.
they make enough money.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure
okay.
they don't give
No,
a
I
shit.
think it's just about
Well,
the
as
time
much
that
makeup
they're
as they
gonna-
use for zombies. I mean, I think they can spare a little bit for Carl's eye.
Yeah,
They
but
did it for
he's
the
an
governor,
actor,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They did it for the governor.
Yeah, but that was right through his eye. It wasn't like half his face.
Well, I'm saying that they're not going
I
to
don't
do
think- yeah.
half of his face. They're not going to do like the
Well,
book.
then what's the
the
point?
book, when you see it, it's like
It's just
you're
the
looking at
idea though of losing an eye.
Okay,
Right.
Rich, it's gonna happen. I'm
I
giving
hope
up
it
on
does.
this.
I hope it does. Do you want to? Do we want to make a wager on it?
No, I don't. We'll just move on.
Call Vegas right now. Put it in.
Move on.
When it happens,
I agree
I'm
with
going to
you.
bare my ass and you're going to kiss my right cheek.
I would not do either one of those things.
Okay, so did anybody else see anything interesting that happened with this episode? The sewer was kind of cool.
Yeah.
The walkers in the sewer were actually really well done. I like the design and the makeup effects on them.
The one that Maggie was fighting, yeah, it was
Well,
pretty
the first
disgusting
one-
when she was shoving
She was
her hand
shoving her
through the
arm.
ribs and
well,
all
like the
that crap.
first one that crawls out was just like super creepy, and I was like, oh, that looks
Well, I just
awesome.
kept thinking if they've been there soaking and soaking and soaking, they should be just like things should just be falling off of them.
Well, it was essentially. I mean,
Yeah.
like how easy that Maggie was able to push her hand through
That was
the
great.
rib cage and everything.
Yeah.
I was hoping her hand would come out the back though, and she'd like grab him by the back of the head, or grab a rib and stab him in the head with it.
Yeah.
That'd be great. That'd be cool.
And then when they get to the gate and they want to get out, the zombies got there pretty quick.
Yeah.
Well, they seemed like they were already there. I mean, Aaron even says, like, there's only a few of them. We can take them out and go.
Yeah.
And she just has her anxiety about it or whatever and flips out.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they
that was
decide
good
not to.
because I mean they would have been overrun. I mean they were
Yeah.
too close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they run really fast straight out.
And besides, it was too close. It's too soon. You have to drag
Yeah,
out.
we got to wait till episode 8 to find out about Glenn. We can't get out of this sewer right now.
Do you think that sewer is going to come into play anymore?
Well, yeah, I don't think they would have shown it in that detail without.
Because it wasn't like it was just like, okay, you have one turn left, one turn right. There was
Yeah.
like a maze.
Well,
Yeah.
also, I mean, like you really don't know. That could be the way that Enid gets in and out now. Because
Yeah,
everybody.
but they say
knows-
she goes over the wall.
Yeah, but that's because they've seen her do it once. So
Maybe she saw
maybe this
Aaron
is-
and Maggie at the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never
Somewhere.
know. But other than that, I think now that Rick is officially in power. Over
What did you say it
Alexander?
was earlier?
The Rictatorship.
The dictatorship.
That's what everybody calls it.
Who calls it that?
Everybody. Ever since the
hipsters
end of
that-
season
The
The
hipsters.
hipsters that started
Is it-
watching Walking Dead.
end of season 2 where he makes that big speech, everybody, the whole meme factory on that is it's a Rictatorship, because he says you're either going to listen to me and follow me or you can leave right now or whatever.
Rick Tater sounds like like something you would see in Cars or something.
Sounds like a bad potato dish at some restaurant. Hey, you want a Rictator?
It's a hipster fusion cuisine. It's the Rick Tater.
It's a Rictator. But yeah, so now and like with Deanna also saying like, hey, you know what? Maybe you should run this place and not me. So you can see she's officially given up and is basically, Rick, you can go ahead and take care of leading these people.
I
You know, well, it looked like she was trying to make an attempt when she grabbed the blueprints and started drawing
Well,
shit
yeah.
up. So
Well,
unless
no,
she poses that to Rick probably. And
Well, she even said could be like, you lead them. I'm gonna work on fixing all this stuff like Reggie was gonna do. I'm gonna take
Yeah.
on that role of building our infrastructure.
that's true.
and you just you take
lead these
care of
people
yeah.
and you take care of like what's going on.
It's pretty much like what was it, season 3 when they were at the prison.
Yes.
Where Rick pretty much was doing all that shit and
Meaning
whoever that
Farmer Rick.
everybody else was dealing with the group.
Yeah.
So
the Farmer Rick episodes.
Farmer Rick.
There was something. Oh, so what'd you think of Jesse's speech? Because she had
Nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, she says exactly what she says in the trailer from
yeah.
last
So
week.
So I'm aware or I'm right. The chick that cut her, that was the zombie that she kills was the girl when they were standing around when Rick first gets back.
Well, they're all
The short-haired, dark
She was
haired.
one of the girls in the pantry.
Was she one of the ones
Yeah,
in the
she was
pantry,
one of
or
the ones in the pantry making the big stink about, like we're all gonna die anyway, and then like the guys get on top of it, like
They get on top of her.
No,
No, I thought
get
I
on
thought it
board
was
with
I thought
her,
it was
you know?
the chick with the kind of the bob.
The short hair, yeah.
Yeah, that was at the gate with Rick, and she makes that comment. Well, we're all going to die anyways.
Yeah.
No, it's a cemetery in here anyways,
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, no,
I thought
it's
that's
the-
who it was.
It's the same. I mean, it's the same girl. But yeah,
So then
not.
she, huh?
No, it's not because Jesse kills this girl the last episode that this group was in. So
No, no, not the one she drags out. The one that at the house when she goes up to the window
Oh.
and the zombie comes up and you see the
Oh,
the gash in the wrist like she
Oh.
killed herself,
Mhm.
and then she sticks. She opens the
Oh,
door
okay.
and she
What
turns
you're talking
around to the masses standing there, and she
the
makes.
masses of all 4 people that were.
I keep wondering where do these people come from? You didn't see them until now. How many people were actually in this fucking place?
probably a
There was a
lot,
lot
yeah.
of people. It's just they're slowly introducing you. Once they start killing off the other ones, they're like, oh, we gotta shuffle some more people.
We got to bring these people in. Where are they? Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
I mean, you have to think about it. I mean, going back to like Fear the Walking Dead, this was the military base camp. This is where the military put all these people.
yeah,
So you got to think that they have a good maybe like 1,000 people there at least.
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I mean,
they don't show how big it is either.
Right.
that's true.
So
And I guess using Fear the Walking Dead is a good reference to it because it does give you an idea that okay, they did set up these type of communities all around. Granted, this one is more of an isolated, planned.
Well, this was
Place.
the community. This was a housing community that was already done and is basically being sold once the apocalypse happened.
Yeah, but it has a
So-
communal, fuck, I just solar panel system.
Yeah, no,
like-
that's what it was though. That was the whole community aspect that they were building. They were selling homes that were going to be energy efficient and energy sustaining and all that stuff.
So one of the problems I've had with The Walking Dead for a long time is you see a lot of kids, especially in this community. There's 4 or 5 kids, but you don't see any more kid zombies since season 1. I mean, the last kid zombie you saw was Sophia. What happened to all the kids? They just the zombies ate them all.
They grow up as zombies. I don't know. They go through zombie puberty.
the adults were tired. Like, we're tired of you. They throw them to the horde.
Exactly.
No, I did like Chris's comment about Deanna, as the actress. I hope she's not getting paid by the line, because the first 30 minutes of the episode she doesn't speak.
Yeah, but also, I mean, like this is the show in general. They use that as a dramatic play a lot.
Sure.
Yeah, Maggie
know.
was the same way at the beginning of the
Oh
episode.
God,
so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like season 2, right? She didn't speak for the longest
Well, I was
time.
talking about this episode. I don't
Or
know
even
about
Beth. Remember Beth in season 2?
Well, Beth was catatonic for.
Pretty much.
Oh, poor Beth.
Yeah, they've had episodes like where the whole entire cold open there was no dialogue.
I want to see him do one episode just as a silent episode. That'd be kind of cool.
It's easily done.
That's
Yeah.
kind of a majority of the very first episode. I think there's not a whole lot of lines in the first episode
When
because
it's just Rick by
when
himself,
It's Rick
yeah.
by himself. Yeah.
What are you? To the bicycle chick, whatever he said to her.
He doesn't say, "What are you?"
Or what happened to you or something. I don't remember. It's been
Nice
a
to meet you.
while. Man, that's a nice bike.
What happened to your legs?
Weren't very many zombie kills. I think there
Here's
were
a
a total of
Mentos.
3. Here's a Mentos.
You have a horrible case of halitosis.
Your breath stank.
There were only 3 zombie kills? 4? There were 2 in the sewer. There was the one that Jesse kills, and then the one that Rick and Diana kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, people can't complain. There were some deaths.
There was some deaths. If the
There's no
complaint is,
deaths.
There's no zombies. Look at all the ones. No, but this.
I mean, that's the
this,
thing with the show is it's moved past the zombies as the story aspect. Yeah, they're still there. They still pose a threat, but that's no longer
It's always been a dramatic show.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's always what it is. It's about the characters, and it's not about oh my god, what were we gonna do about the zombies this week?
I mean, to consistently have zombie kill after zombie kill, it's
Right.
boring
That's
as
true.
shit.
Do you feel that this season so far has just been a whole lot of let's wait and see and setting up for whatever's going to happen in the second half?
I really think that they're, you know,
Filling time?
waiting until the second half of the season to really get it to pick up. Because, you know, they really want, for one, you know, like to wait until the season finale for Glenn and like figuring out what he's doing. If there's any other deaths that they're planning on doing.
The
Carl's
season
not.
or the mid-season?
Mid-season.
Oh, okay.
And then the second half of the season is really them setting up Negan. You know, that's what I really think it is.
Yeah.
You know, like I think I've said it before. I really think the season finale this episode is Glenn dying by Negan.
Yeah, it's either
Like he gets back in and then he just immediately gets
Well, yeah, I
killed.
mean, they all go out for the run like they did in the comic books and basically run into the saviors. And
well, they're definitely setting up that they need to get out and get a run going soon because
because they don't have any food
Yeah.
or whatever. But yeah, I mean, like it's really starting to get into that, you know, time frame of it.
I think that they've because in the book things happen so much faster that they needed to drag it out for a little bit to try to fill in some of the situations in the book.
Okay. So I think like this first half of the season, they're really taking that opportunity to say, you know, whatever characters we haven't really focused on their story yet, let's drag out this half of the season and kind of tell their story. You know, hence, you know, Tara and, you know, you see a little bit of Rosita and like her kind of story, like, you know, her being upset that Abraham's gone or whatever,
Yeah.
which I think he's almost going to be dead anyway because based on the comic book.
Well, the comic book, he dies at the Horde, doesn't he?
He's on a run and he gets shot in the air and he gets shot in the face with an arrow from one of the saviors. So
Yeah, I think that the wolves are the saviors. That they just didn't want to use the word savior.
I don't think so. I think, you know, the wolves were, you know, just something that the show created for the show.
Or another community.
And to show that, hey, you know what, there is this group of people. But I do think that some of the ones that left with, you know, Morgan let go, basically, there was the few that Rick killed, yeah, but I think there's still a piece of them that, you know, end up finding the saviors and be like, hey, you know, I know these guys that have this community, you know.
That nonchalantly, hey, I know these guys.
Hey, guys, yeah. No, and then so basically, you know, for those people who haven't read the book, the Saviors and Negan's group was all about, you know, strongholding all these communities that were made and around, basically saying, you know, you give us half of whatever you find, and we'll protect you.
This is sort of like the similar
Like a
group
mafia.
that Daryl ran into
Yes.
when they were all separated after was it Hermes or
in a way, yes. But Negan's group is more like, you know, we'll protect you, meaning we won't kill you,
yeah.
You give us half of your stuff, whatever you find,
and we'll leave you
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah, they're basically
No,
a
it's just a
mob,
mob,
you
yeah.
know. Yeah, they're the mafia. And so, you know, I think that's, you know, a way that the wolves are going to play into it. Like the one wolf that
We
you
will
see that
protect
Morgan
you.
let go that had the gun or whatever runs into this group of people that, you know, tells them about the community. And, you know, Negan essentially says, well, we got to get our half of that. So,
It'll be interesting to see. I think the next half of the season, I don't. I think Glenn dying at the season finale could work, but if you're going to think that he's dead, I mean, like, by the time it does happen with this, most of the people in the audience are gonna be like, just fucking kill him. You know, don't fake out his death. Like, you know.
Or
Glenn
maybe he's dead. He'll walk to the gate, like he'll find his way to the gate, and Maggie will see him, and then she'll have to kill him.
Well,
Like
that
as a
could work.
zombie.
But yeah, I don't see him changing the way that happens in the book. It's too
brutal.
and cool, and you know it's
Well,
too
it's
it's
a
an
matter
iconic
of-
scene for the
It's a matter
franchise.
of the emotion that's put behind it. Like the reason why they chose Glenn is because Glenn was such a loved character, and even in the TV show, Glenn is such a loved character. You know, I have all the other people that I have friends on Facebook that, you know, talk about it and like freaking out that last episode where you see, you know, what looks like Glenn dying.
I love watching the reaction videos on YouTube that people post and shit.
The-
Yeah.
These girls just like scream, no.
But
Exactly.
even with that, when that happened, he didn't have the feeling. I didn't have the feeling that okay, Glenn's dead. Just the way it happened, because you could tell that Nicholas fell on top of him.
Right.
Yeah.
That was my whole thing. Is like I saw him falling back. Nicholas was on top of him, and they're pulling him apart from on top.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's not like from the side or anything like that. So like he's just in this state of shock, and that's why he was
Yeah.
yelling.
Yeah.
It's the same with when Noah died, and he was just watching him get torn apart.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Glenn. He keeps watching people get torn apart in front of him.
Well, see, and the thing with Glenn is, if he just lays there when they're done eating Nicholas, he's covered in blood and everything. He'll
Yeah.
be covered in the stink of death, and he can just get up and walk right out.
Mhm. Well, I still think it's going to be the introduction of Jesus or Jesus.
He's going to save him.
Pretty
That's
much.
very possible. Yeah.
I think that's. I mean, it's basically he's going to notice that Glenn is trapped. He's going to find a way to basically rescue him, and Glenn is going to bring him back
Just
to the community.
draw attention away, and the
Yeah, or
horde moves
something like
away,
that.
and then this Glenn is just sitting.
if that's the case, then I would say that there's 3 more episodes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It'll happen in not next week.
2
It'll happen in the week. Yeah.
the week before the season.
Yep.
Or mid-season.
Yep.
Yeah.
You'll see that, and he'll make it back. Him and Jesus will make it back to the community, to Alexandria, and then the end of that episode will be the horde breaking through.
Yeah.
They'll break through the gate, and then the whole last episode will be
Managing
Carl
the
taking his
herd.
eye.
the very
Carl
last thing.
taking his own eye.
To me, the
Takes
it
a
just
spoon.
a spoon. A spoon?
A spoon.
Why a spoon, brother? Really? Seriously? Do you know what that's from?
No.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
No, the one with Kevin Costner?
Yeah.
No, I think I maybe saw that once.
When
maybe.
um,
And that was a really, really long time ago.
um,
So, no, I don't
Al-
remember
Alan
that.
Rickman tells the sheriff, the sheriff of Nottingham, that he's going to rip his heart out with a spoon, and he says, "Why a spoon? Why not a fork or a knife? Because a spoon would take longer and it would hurt more." Anyways, no, I honestly I do. And you haven't been on the show for this one, for the Walking Dead cast to hear it, but I really believe that the end of the season, the mid-season, is Carl. The last thing you see is, you hear the bullet, you hear the
You just hear
gunshot, and then you hear Dad. Rick turns, and Carl's standing there, and the eye's missing, and he falls, and that's the end of it. And the horde's still around him and stuff. That's exactly where it stops until February. Because to me, that's such a moment where you're going, no, come back.
Yeah, no, that's a good cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the same with like last season with when Beth gets killed. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
it's one of those like you're not expecting it until the very last moment.
Yep.
When you see it, and you're like, what? Oh, they got 2 minutes left. What the hell is going on?
Yeah.
This is how they're gonna end it.
But see, this is also the problem with reading the book and watching the show. Is
Well, you can sort of plan out.
Yeah. That's why for the first few seasons, I made sure that I was reading the book, and I'd only read up to the point of
But
where
also,
they were.
they've done a good job of bringing their own stories into play.
Yeah.
Like it's not completely based off the book. So even if you think about this might happen, it may not. Like there's a lot of people that should be dead by now that are dead in the book, but they're still alive, and vice versa. There's a lot
Yeah.
of people that are alive that were dead in the book long before.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I mean, there's certain. I mean, there are things, but then there are the key moments,
There-
and
yeah,
the key
there's key
moments.
moments.
Other than the fact of Terminus was different than how it happened in the book.
Not
Yeah,
so
there
much.
was-
I mean,
but-
there was Terminus, but I mean, like what
the
happened
actual
after was,
right.
what
The actual
happened.
Terminus was not in the book, but the whole thing, even though it wasn't, it wasn't. His name's not Ben. What was the black guy's name? Bob. The other B word. Even though it wasn't Dale whose leg was laying there on the fire, the barbecue, it was Bob's. It was Bob's, but that was still one of those moments and one of those images from the book that made it, And there's been, Sophia's another good one. There's other things.
No, Sophia's still alive in the book. That's the funny thing.
She is. But there was another kid that came out of the barn, wasn't it?
There was no barn.
There was a barn in the second one. I mean,
They literally spent maybe 3 pages on the farm.
yes, but there were zombies that came out. No, it wasn't. Okay, there wasn't anybody that they knew that came out of the barn.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
yeah.
But there was still an iconic moment when the barn opens up, and then So, anyways, anything else about this episode? I mean, we've talked longer and more
Longer
in
than
depth
the
about it than what it should have been.
No, I think like we were saying, this is one of those just we have to put out an episode this week. Let's put something to work on people's characters, and I think that's all it was. It wasn't you get to see that like Denise is finally getting the hang of being the doctor now.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that.
Well, I mean, she was like, oh well, Father Gabriel's leg is infected, and I don't know what to do.
Was
blah,
that
blah, blah.
Gabriel? Because I
Yeah.
didn't look.
And then her and Tara made love
Yeah.
in front of him, damning his beliefs. And shit.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, we find out that Denise she comes out in this episode.
yeah, but I mean, also like the fact that she's now getting the hang of being the doctor, and like she figured out how to help Gabriel out by reading the book or whatever. So
By
she's
reading
learned-
Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah.
And then she sucked the pus out of that syringe.
Oh.
What did you say, Mikey? Oh no, what you made the?
I made after she sucked it out, she just squirted it back in her mouth, and
That's so disgusting.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, so that's basically the only other thing. Carol wasn't in this episode at all.
Nope.
So kind of wondering what happened to Carol.
She had to go take a long shower after.
Should have go take a dump.
Yeah.
So.
What did you think of the episode, Mikey? Did you like it?
it was fine.
Take it or
It was-
leave it?
it's just another episode. I just watch every episode. I don't care too much.
Yeah.
I watch it.
But it was enjoyable, but the
Yeah.
story continued to move along for you. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh God, why did I waste
I'm fine.
this hour?
No, I'm fine. Hearing about other people's stories and
Yeah. Expanding
characters,
the
yeah.
world. Yeah.
because to
Yeah, I
focus on
mean-
the same ones over and over, and you're just like, all right, this is another Rick episode or
Yeah.
another Carol.
Well, even
episode.
though it's like
Michonne was
nothing-
barely in it.
Yeah, it was like nothing really happened in this episode. It still was a good episode to watch because, like I've said before, it's just progressing stories of people that don't get that much TV time. Like Deanna's story got progressed a whole lot in
Yeah.
this episode.
yeah,
You get Spencer's character kind of comes out even more. So it's like you get a lot of those people that are kind of background characters that you kind of now get more information about, and that's what this episode is.
yeah.
Nothing from the main story has progressed, but you get the kind of idea of who is what now.
Yeah, it's like a tie-in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and on that note, I think we're going to wrap things up. Make sure you tune in 3 weeks when Ethan turns around and kisses my ass.
I will not
I don't know
kiss
why
your
you're
ass.
turning around, but
I will not. Well, I'll be turning around to run away.
you can't
Knowing
run very
you-
far. So, anyways, for Mikey and Ethan, I'm
I'm
alright.
about to kick you in the
Say,
balls. Drop your pants. See how far you can run after that.
we'll see you next time. I guess I should have said, don't forget to tune into our regular Nerdables podcast every week.
They don't
Hopefully,
listen-
they'll need. We
they don't
need
listen
tell
to
them.
that.